by the bops way. But on this road to success, ain't no stops made. Ain't no room for doubt either, so you must believe. Cause the way I feel it, ain't no limits but the speed. I trust it.
Welcome on into Booby's World with Daniel, Booby, Gibson, and Rafa El Alcalde. I'm Nick Padone. What is going on, guys?
What's going on, man? I get lost in there. I get lost in the intro every time I hit the song.
Yeah. Hey, how come you didn't introduce yourself as Nicky P, man? I like that better.
I know.
DJ Nicky P.
Made my debut last week as DJ Nicky P, so we'll keep working that in for our Freestyle Fridays over on the Booby's World Instagram.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Turn up one time, Nicky P.
So let's start the show off kind of on a sad note today as we appreciate the life and, pay our respects to Nick Gilbert. The son of Cavs owner Dan Gilbert passed away recently. Guys, do you have any memories? Obviously, as Cavs fans, there's a lot of memories with the draft lottery luck, the bow ties, kind of his infectious personality. But you guys working behind the scenes, do you have any special memories about Nick that really stand out to you?
To me, obviously, I'm a Cavs fan. I just finished my 9th season with the Cavs, but I knew about Nick Gilbert before I even became a Cavaliers employee. So that's how powerful his presence was when he came to the now famous 2011 draft.
The draft, I believe
the draft,
so.
When he won, he won the number 1 pick twice, and we have to. I think it's definitely a sad moment to have somebody lose his life at 26 years old, but I think it's important to celebrate the way Nick Gilbert lived his life, because he was definitely dealt a really bad set of cards and did the absolute best that he could. And we were just at his funeral this past weekend, and it was amazing to hear the stories from his friends and family about what an infectious personality he was and how important it was for him to concentrate and focus on the good, because that's what he had decided to do in his life, and from that to the creation of the foundation of NF Forward to help raise almost $100 million to look for the cure of the illness that he has, neurofibromatosis. So it was a sad moment, but I was just happy that I was able to get to meet him once, and then just to see all the good that he was able to create with his life.
Yeah, man, Nick, that's a very, very sore spot for me, because when I came in as a rookie, being all the way at the end of the bench, Nick and Dan used to sit right there. So I would be right next to him at a lot of the games, and he'd be right there cheering us on. And I remember a story. I think somebody said it at the funeral. Where we made a bet for the Super Bowl. And he won it, and the bet was that he could tell me to drop down and do push-ups anywhere. We could be about to start the game, we could be in the hallway, he could just tell me to drop down. So why am I in a boot, a whole boot, can't even play, and we on the side of the court, Nick I need 5 right there. so I gotta get out of it. I bet some bet, man. But nah, man, Nick's my guy, and he was that energy was just infectious to the. You just saw his strength. He never complained. He just showed up and tried to brighten up everybody's day, regardless of what he was going through. And I got a lot of love for him. And like he said, I just feel like we should celebrate that young legend, because he was, in the short time that he was here, he affected so many and inspired us all for sure.
Definitely made a big impact.
A couple of things. First of all, among all the stories that were told, he had an amazing sense of humor. Obviously, they talk about his laugh, and they talk about how he always started his conversation with what's good, because he always wanted to concentrate on the goodness. But Dan told a story about, just to picture him, and they were at a Jay-Z concert, and Jay-Z was in the backstage just sitting around, and Nick went over to him and said, "Hey, Jay-Z, what's your favorite Jay-Z song?"
That's Nick. Man.
That is
that's
amazing, right? So let's make some good out of the memory. Obviously, we send our thoughts and prayers to the Gilbert family and all his friends and siblings. But if you can donate to nfforwarddetroit.org/donate, it would be awesome to help continue the cause that he created to help find a cure for neurofibromatosis. And I think it's not just for Nick, but for everybody who 1 in every 3,000 person suffer from this disease. So I'll do whatever you can nfforwarddetroit.org would be awesome if you can make your donation.
Absolutely. So, guys, now that we've had a little bit of time to process this Cavs season, we've wrapped it up. Let's focus back on the positives, Booby. Let's jump into what went right in the 2022-2023 campaign.
Yeah.
What big moments stand out in your mind?
I mean, overall, just the culture that was built between the guys, and you just saw like they were willing to fight, and they never backed down from any challenges. And but if I was going for the big moments though, gotta be the 71 though, right?
Yeah.
We gotta be done 71. Like that don't happen. That put him like third on the list.
There's only one of 6 people that have score over that,
Right,
and then
Kobe
it's
had-
a lot of Wilt and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Will got 100. Kobe had the 81,
Yeah,
and then Dunn's
yeah.
right there. And like we were all there as witnesses right here at the Rocket Mortgage House. So I feel like that was probably the one of the high points of the season for me.
You know, and the great thing about that night is that not only we were down 21
Right. They
or
all
something like
counted.
that,
They
right?
all counted.
At home, and he also had a double-double. And he's not
Oh, yeah.
much of a double-double guy.
Right,
You know,
right.
he had 5 this year. He came in with 7 in his career. And he's only second in the history of the NBA to have been responsible for almost 100 points. Because he scored 71 and had 11 assists.
Gotta be
And
about 95.
only Will, because Will had 1 assist the year he scored. Will had 1 or 2.
Nah, man, that's amazing,
And-
man. Yeah.
So that to me, for sure, and the way it happened
Legendary,
too, because
yeah, like
he doesn't get to 71 if he doesn't miss the free throw and
Put it back.
put it back in there. So
Yeah,
it was
legendary,
one of
man.
those things that, and I told this story many times, that there was only 19,000 and change at the field house that day against the Bulls. And I probably already talked to over 100,000 people that have told me they were there that night.
I was
That's how big it is, how mythical.
Right. I
What
wasn't there. I was actually we was with the Charge. We had a Charge game on the road, but we were all glued to the TV watching every bucket though.
You know,
Yeah.
there was just a ton of big moments really all year. Talk about Donovan and Karras both scoring 41
Yeah,
apiece
early.
in Boston. That was a good one. Garland going for 51 against Minnesota. But Raf, maybe my favorite of all, of you not being allowed to say that Karras is from the University of Michigan, rather from Columbus, Ohio.
Well, you know, I get to introduce the lineups in Espanol during Noche Latina,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And Karras and I, you know, we know each other from spending almost every day for,
we family
for
here, it's
2
family.
seasons, right?
sure.
So we have talked about it, and I'm a big University of Michigan fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I have talked to him about how I was going to introduce him, because I don't know if you noticed, but when Caris LeVert starts and Ahmad Crump, who does an amazing job introducing the lineups, he says, you know, from Texas, Jared Allen, from Vanderbilt, Darius Garland,
Right.
from this, and from Columbus, Ohio, Caris
Oh, so
LeVert.
they don't give him the Michigan.
They don't give him the Michigan thing
Stamp.
because I don't know.
Ah.
I understand they think he might get booed.
Hey.
But I don't think. I mean, come on.
It's a Buckeye State.
He's a
Ralph.
Cavalier
It's
now,
a
man.
Buckeye
Hey.
State.
He's
man.
a Cavalier
I'm
now.
a Texas
so
boy.
I have plans
Tough.
to say
Tough.
from the University of Michigan, you know, the Wolverine, because I call him that in my broadcast, you know, Caris LeVert. So I did the rehearsal, and obviously somebody might have heard it. And I'm about to go. The lights are off. They're introducing they had just finished introducing the Knicks lineup. Lights are off. I'm getting ready for my mic, you know. I'm used to talking when people are not looking at me. I'm in the middle of the court, and I'm about to introduce the lineup, and
Showtime.
I get a paper that says, you know, basketball operation wants you to say from Columbus, Ohio. So I was like, at first I
Do
was
it or lose your job.
at first, I was
do?
tempted to say,
No,
you know,
you
the hell with it. I'm going with it. But then I'm like, oh, let me find out
Nah,
what
like-
basketball operation means. And see who is the one that said that. But then to even top it all off, the next practice we had, Caris came to me and said, dude, I was
thought you was
laughing
gonna
when
do
I
it,
came
yeah.
out there and you said from Columbus, Ohio. So I said, well, you know,
Yeah, it was like
the powers that
it
be
was above
said-
me. Yeah, It's
he wasn't
above
he wasn't
now.
me.
Nah, that's tough. They don't play.
So many good memories from this Cavs season. We'll have a lot more for you. Stick with us. Booby's World. We'll be right back.
Hey, you know, I might have video of that if you need it, if you can use it.
Alrighty, welcome on back into Booby's World, our new segment. This one was a lot of fun, so we brought it back. It's called Booby for 3, where we rank our top 3 things each and every show. This one, we're going to go with our top 3 best young players in the NBA. I'll give people a little peek behind the screen. Before the show, you guys were agreeing a little bit, arguing a little bit about your top 3.
As long as Ralph picks 3 this time, and he get off that fence.
Moving for 2.5.
There you go, man. As long as you pick 3, I'm cool with it. I'm good with it.
No, we agree because this one it's obviously we start with our guy Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is definitely just one of the youngest since Kobe to be named to the All NBA defensive team.
Absolutely. And
should have been the defensive player of the year.
Should have been rookie of the year too.
Definitely does not know what sophomore blues mean. Nah. After the second season he just had.
None of that.
So we both agree Evan Mobley is one of the top 3
for sure
young superstars, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. Agreed.
The second one, you gotta go with the Ant in Minnesota. I think he has shown that he can be the man.
All-star this year.
Yeah.
I feel like he's on the brink. I feel like Cat is now giving the realm to him and letting him take over that team. And so I feel like with the way he played this season, I think he proved himself to be one of the up-and-coming superstars in the game. No question.
And if you remember, when he came into the league, there were a lot of questions about if he really liked basketball. There was rumblings that he was really a football guy and a football fan. What has made Ant so special in just a short amount of time in the league?
I think they just really started to see just how good he is. Like, I think, and they're seeing his dedication to the game. Like, you see the guys that come in and they have a lot of hype, but they don't add something to their game every year. Just in this short amount of time, he's taking leaps in his scoring averages. And I feel like, again, Cat understands now that if we want to win, he's going to have to be our guy. For you to come in and take it from a guy who is considered a superstar in this game, it says a lot about you.
Yeah. And I think you got to give it to him because what you just said, Nick, he plays with a football mentality.
Yes,
he
sir.
runs people over, and he has the skill set.
Yeah.
It's not just like he plays hard and he's a strong dude. I mean, he can shoot and he can get to the basket.
And the one thing this season that I heard about you, not to cut you off, was that it just came to me. I heard him say just how much he wants to guard the other team's best player.
Yeah.
And like, you don't hear that no more. Everybody back down and try to wait till they turn on offense. But it takes a lot to be able to guard the other guy's best guy and then come back and get yours.
And be in charge of your offense.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? It takes a lot from you. And so when guys commit to that says that we talking that Kobe mentality. Yeah. We talking that Mamba mentality that takes you to a whole nother level.
But when it comes to, I did bring 3, and I guess I don't know if we agree on the third one, but I gotta give it to the rookie of the year, Paolo Banchero. I mean, he has the body. He's shown he has the skills to be in the NBA.
I love Paolo. I love him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's so many other young guys. And for him, I just feel like I want to see him do it in a productive setting.
Yeah.
I feel like he got more chances than everybody to get his 20. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they just gave him the ball and said, get all your shots up. So, I mean, I don't really have another. I like Jalen Green. Maybe it's because I'm from Houston, and I want to see him take.
Jabari Smith he looked really good, too.
He was solid this year, too. Maybe I want to see Jalen get my Rockets back in some type of contention.
Cade Cunningham, too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Cade,
we haven't seen
and he
really,
got hurt a lot, so we haven't got a full sample size of Cade. So, I feel like that's a cool list. I mean, the league is in good hands.
What's the guy who plays center for Houston, Alperen Şengün?
Man,
he can do
Joker.
many things.
He's
the
mini Joker.
Yeah.
He plays just like him, and I feel like the more minutes he gets, his numbers.
Do you think he's a good fit there with all the athleticism they have?
I mean, I feel like you gotta have a guy that's willing to pass and like not shoot it every time. So I think he fits, but I'll be curious to see. coming up what happens with the draft picks, because they're gonna be right at the top of that draft, and if they get number 1, then I don't think he fits anymore. You know what I mean? But that's to be determined. But I think Big Shangoon is gonna be a problem for a long time.
I like his game a lot.
Speaking of the draft, and we're gonna get plenty into the NBA draft.
That's my favorite part.
Well, Booby, obviously only one team walks away with that number 1 overall selection. Where do you think is the best fit for Victor Wembanyama in the next level?
Woo, you hit me with a curveball right there. I think San Antonio just does an amazing job with all of the overseas. I mean, they had Tony Parker there, right?
Tony Parker.
He's a French kid. And
Ginobili.
So I feel like they know
Even
how to
Duncan.
handle international guys in San Antonio. That's the obvious pick. But I mean, I think it would be a scary thought if he was to go over there with OKC where they got so much young talent already. So, I mean, I feel like wherever he goes, he's going to have an amazing impact. But if I had to pick a squad, I would say the Spurs.
Do you think Detroit would definitely jump up? I mean, obviously he's going to change the game if he plays the way we think he's going to play and the way what he has demonstrated that he can do at 7'5", 7'6", whatever he is.
They loaded it. They got.
That's what I mean by him and K. I mean, he can catch love.
But I mean, as far as they got Jalen Duren over there, and they got Wiseman.
Kate Cunningham.
No, I mean that's too many bigs.
Too many bigs.
Yeah, it ain't enough. It ain't enough
but
space in the paint.
You ain't passing up on that big.
No. If they get the number 1 pick, they gonna have to figure some things out.
Whoever gets the number 1 pick, I don't care how many bigs they have. They're picking Wemby.
Hey, none of them names that I just said keeping that man off that roster. So that's not what I meant. But I feel like, as far as best fit, a team where he could kind of come in seamlessly and take off. I feel like the Spurs would be
what are the teams at the bottom?
A sleeper though, because they changed the odds in the draft. It's not as easy for the worst team to
it's 14%, the bottom 3.
So a place where I would like to see him go, Nick. If I'm answering your question, I would say Portland. Why not Portland
That'd be cool.
Trailblazers? They didn't make the playoffs, so they're gonna be a part of that lottery. And why not put him over there with Dame and figure some things out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
young superstar with kind of a proven vet.
If I could pick a team, why not? Why let Portland get that?
Look at Booby building some 2K rosters out here.
Shout out to Chauncey Billups. That was my mentor when I came in. Let's get Portland back in the playoffs, baby.
Well, you guys better keep it locked here on Booby's World because we are going to have a lot of NBA draft content for you guys. Like Booby said, that's his favorite time of the year. So we will have some prospect breakdowns coming up for you very shortly. Right now, we're going to snag another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go around the NBA, maybe even address some rumors. Stay with us.
Shoot it.
Alrighty, welcome on back into Booby's World. Let's do a new segment.
Yes, sir.
That we call the Rumor Mill, where we kind of discuss some things that have went on that could currently be going on. Start with this. Booby, you were a part of history as you were on the team that LeBron James left. Take me back to that day. When did you find out that LeBron James was going to Miami? Did he reach out to you? Because a lot of fans, media, they kind of have their perception of how things went down.
Yeah.
Let's hear the story from you. Where were you when LeBron left Cleveland for Miami?
It still hurts. Well, I was actually leaving. I had went to his skills camp before that. Maybe the week of leading up to it. Didn't hear nothing. So to answer your question about did he tell me about it? Nah, we didn't talk about it. I don't think he told anybody other than his group of 4 that's always around him. But I was headed to Houston. I jumped on a flight to Houston, and going up, as the plane was taking off, they was getting ready to start the decision. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, when we land, he gonna come back to Cleveland, and all of the proceeds gonna go to the Boys and Girls Club. And we gonna be happily ever after. That's what I had. But man, when that plane landed, instead of the stewardess getting on and going, you guys have just landed in Houston. your gates. Nah, she said the decision had LeBron's decision. He's going to the Miami Heat, and the plane went. Oh, everybody was happy, and everybody around me was cheering. I'm just like. This can't be true. Like, this cannot be happening, man. And that's kind of how I found out. I landed, I saw it just like everybody else. And originally I was just hurt because I just wanted another chance to go back to to the championship and have another run at winning another title. Like, that was more of where the hurt came from for me. And I remember, like, when we played the Heat, and I remember the fans were going crazy, and they were pissed at the fact that LeBron had came down there and like started talking to us, and it was like it was a period in time where like they felt like we were being too nice to him. Like they wanted us to hate him just as much, when obviously there's that dislike while you're on the floor, but this was my brother that we had been through all these wars with. Yeah, like on the court, like if you go back to like those first 4 clips, like I'm pretty sure we could pull him up. Like I hit him with a snatch over, and I hit a 3, and like as I was running back, like I was talking to him like, "What you want to do now?" And then he kind of looked back like, "Okay, that's how you feel. Oh, that's what we doing." But you know, as the game go on, he kind of walked down there, and I mean, it's Bron. Like that's just who he is. So I just remember that time it being real like testy between the fans and everybody, because they just wanted us to hate him, and they ended up beating us by like 40 that night. But overall, though, that was kind of how the experience was for me. But I couldn't hate him because I saw so many of my other teammates get traded like it was nothing without they didn't get told anything before they were traded either. So I couldn't hate him for that reason. I just selfishly wanted him to stay with me a couple more years so we could have a run to that championship.
How difficult was that massive change from what you guys finished the year before? Obviously, it didn't end the way you guys wanted to, but you know, you ended up as
Yeah, the worst thing about it was, I think it was the timing of when he did the decision. Like, he waited until all of the free agents was gone, so we couldn't even bring anybody in. I think we started it that year like small forward. I want to say it was like Joey Graham or somebody like that. Somebody that like we went from LeBron to like not even he wasn't even playing in the rotation on another team the year before. So we had to really start over, and I feel like we were just used to winning. Like we were used to a certain type of basketball. Yeah. And I mean, Byron Scott was coming in, so he had a philosophy and a culture that he was trying to bring to the team as well. Mm-hmm. So we were able to adapt to that, but like it was just tough, like going through games, honestly, and like there would be like a point in the game where like Bron would like take over and like go get a bucket. And at that moment during that season, we ain't had that. So we had to figure it out as a unit. And I mean, that builds character. And I feel like that was another part of when me and this Cleveland fans kind of started to fall in love too, because I was with them at the top and I was with them at the bottom. You feel me? And I was gonna be with them when we worked our way back up. But
the good and the bad.
Yeah. That's kind of how. Yeah. So it was bittersweet, but I'm a Cavalier for life, and I love it.
Absolutely, and we will keep the memories alive. Until next time, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Booby's World. We'll see everybody next week. Peace.
When was the last time you paid for a meal in Cleveland?
Success ain't no stops made. Ain't no room for doubt either, so you must believe. Cause the way I feel it ain't no limits but the speed.